Now I'm ready to cut the other leg of the star, or point of the star. So I'm going to get my rotating mat, center the piece, and since I've got it folded in to 4 layers, I get 4 at a time, and I only need 8. This is template B. It's labeled BBR because you have a B and then you have the reverse of V. That first template, the kite shape, is template A. Okay, so now I have 8 of those. And I have 8 of these. So now I need to cut the background, which is the triangle and square. So the square is cut from a piece of fabric that is, measure it, but like I said, the measurements in your directions of what size to cut. Now that's 3.5, so I'll cut 3 5/8. I'm just going to cut, I'm going to leave this the size it is because I'm just using a scrap and I want to be able to get my triangles out of it. So, so I'm just going to leave it like this and just cut them like this. I need 4 squares and 4 triangles. Two. 4. And then my triangles. Now the triangles, you're going to lay not this way because these would end up being quarter square triangles because they're in the center of the block. So you want to set your triangles going in this direction like this. So if I put it here, I'll be able to cut both from the top and the bottom, hopefully. Or I'll have to find another piece. So you can always use scraps to make your test block. You don't have to get out any kind of special fabric. Just make sure they're all different. So when you go to piece your point, so when you look at your points, you'll see if the 1/4 inch is good. It shows up better when you have different fabrics. Okay, so I have 2 squares and my 2, and I need 2 more triangles. So I'm just going to turn this over and hopefully, how about that? I'll get that out of this. So now we've got all our pieces cut and we're ready to sew. I'll show you all the pieces. Okay, so we have a left and a right. So we've got 4 lefts and 4 rights of the blue. Now I wouldn't recommend you doing your test block in batiks, because you could easily get mixed up what's left and right, because batiks don't have a wrong or right side. So it's hard, well, it does, but it's hard to distinguish. So I'd stick with prints. Okay, so there's my 4 of each in the blue, and I have 4 lefts and rights in the purple. And I recommend you keep them in separate piles, so when you go to lay them down in the block, you won't get confused. I've heard people say that putting the block out is more confusing than sewing it together. So, okay, so I've got 8, 4 of each color, a left and 4 right. Then I've got my 4 quarter square triangles, 4 squares, and my 8 points. And now you're ready for the next lesson. We're going to learn how to sew this block before we even play with the fabric for fussy cutting, because I want you to be adept at putting the block together. I think it's important. So on to the next step.